Hello everybody, it is Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should become patrons over on Patreon if you guys want to support the channel and all that stuff.
Cal made me redo this video because I'm a thorough researcher in the field of Toth
and Skout fanfiction. But we'll save that for the shipping video. So basically, if you guys don't know, there was a Nomad of Nowhere episode today. Obviously, we will be talking about some spoilers, but I don't think this, topic is that much of a spoiler. Obviously, what happened in the episode, maybe, if you haven't watched it. But yeah, Skout and Toth are gay. We don't know what variety of gay. We just know that they're LGBT of some sort. They are women who like women. So, that makes them...
I like you.
Yeah, or I care about you, she said, right? So that's something that happened in the episode, right? That, I mean, with Skout, it's been obvious since the beginning, right? You know?
Oh, yeah.
With Toth, it was sort of up in the air.
Good blushing from
Toth as well.
Some good stuff.
So they did confirm it in an interview that Skout was in love with Toth or something, but I know that people expect inside and outside the LGBT community. Obviously, for the LGBT side, it's okay, they said that, but what if they queer bait? You know what I mean? That's a concern, right? And then on the other side, it's well, I'll wait to see, what happens or how they do it or whatnot, right? I mean, you could care about queer baiting even if you're not in the community, but you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you, right? There's sort of two sides of concerns and they do intercept. But obviously, I think it was obvious from the beginning, this is a confirmation, pretty much. This entire scene is a confirmation. I don't trust anybody who says otherwise. If they're she could just love her as a friend or as a sister, y'all gotta fuck right off with that. I'm not here for that today. Because there's... I understand, this is as blatant as they could get without her actually saying it to her, because that wouldn't necessarily make sense story-wise, because obviously Skout may not be entirely comfortable revealing those feelings yet, but, subtext is important, and that's what bothers me when people, not just with Ruby, but when people try to, I don't want to say analyze things, or that people want to complain about what...
I'm about to say, you can't complain about analyzing
No.
things. That's kind of your bread and butter.
I'm talking about not analyzing things properly. Okay. So it bothers me when people have these, hot takes of, things that happen in, especially in Ruby scenes, and they don't read any subtext and just look at the dialogue, if that makes sense, because there's a lot of body language and a lot of, things like that, facial expressions that matter in a scene. It's not just about looking at the dialogue that's in front of your face. You know what I'm trying to say? I can't think of a good example right now, but, I think that, again, in some of the Ruby scenes, it does happen where people are oh, well... this doesn't tell us anything, but then you're well, she, has this look on her face, she has tears in her eye, whatever the case, right? And so maybe that statement just by itself doesn't mean anything, but obviously you need to put it in a wider context of all of Skout's interactions with Toth over the course of the show, and also just how Skout acts in this scene, right? And then obviously on Toth's side, you see, I think, sort of the same thing, I don't want to say that she gets mad, but she gets very, I guess, concerned when she finds out that Skout is, that she's, run away or something, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hunt her down or whatever in the last episode, because they heard that there's a girl with the Nomad, right? And then, Toth really, roughs up this poor person. Remember? She grabs him and she's what girl? You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And so, and then in this episode she apologizes, but, she blushes when the hug happens, right? And I think that but what happens sort of in this episode is that, and something I find interesting, it's not just sort of the happy moments that tell us what a character is feeling in terms of whether that's their sexuality or if they have if they love someone and it's gonna be a romantic thing. It's also, the hurt moment. So obviously, Skout, almost says that she loves Toth, and that's a happy thing, I think you could say. Maybe not in that scene particularly because they're fighting, but generally that's a happy statement. But even in Toth's sort of betrayal, right, or how she feels betrayed by Skout, because Skout knew that she thought that this was the only way to save her people, right? And Skout sort of went against that, right? It's even in those moments where they are upset at each other, and I think that because they're upset at each other in the way that they are upset, it proves even more than maybe happy moments how much they care about each other. Because you wouldn't be upset if you didn't care about the person that is making you upset. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that's Good. But yeah, like we mentioned, like, Ruby took 5 seasons to get a gay character, and it wasn't even, like, a big gay character, like Ilya. Like, are we gonna see Ilya ever again? Like, you know what I mean?
Character.
Maybe. She's a side character, but she may not be reoccurring. Like, she's not a member of Juniper or anything. She's not guaranteed to come with us to Atlas, even though you guys know I think you guys know I think that she should.
Oh, I think she will.
And I think that she will, but again, not guaranteed. But in terms of, like, this, right, you have 2 main characters that are probably gonna end up together eventually, like, right out of the gate. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's like, yikes, like, Ruby, y'all gotta step up your game. And I'm not saying that they need to have 2 main characters in Ruby, like, 2 gay main characters. But my argument will be, however, if there are, like, say it's Yang and Blake, for example, they took a long time, that's all, right? And I want them to be able to tell their story at the pace that they want to, but at the same time, they could have made things more obvious just a little bit, right? Because obviously this is the first season, and things are very evident right out of the gate. And so, like, I'm not saying that they need to speed up Yang and Blake's interactions, but they could have, Yang and Blake, like, blush at each other when they're dancing or whatever, like in Volume 2. Obviously, they can't go back and fix that stuff now, but that's just an example of, if it was going to be Endgame eventually, that's sort of how they could do that.
The re-edited homosexual cut.
Ruby! Remastered!
At the RT store.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
Is that if Blake and Yang are endgame, there are things that they could have sprinkled in other places to make it more obvious that that is the relationship that they were gonna have. Also, this isn't a Bumblebee video, I'm just using that as an example. I could have used Weiss and Yang for all I care. So, that's just what I'm saying. And so here, obviously, they made sure to make it as obvious as possible, but I'm sure there are gonna be some questionable, homophobic, maybe, people that are still in denial, and, like, y'all gotta stop with that. I'm not willing to fight with anyone today. I probably will anyway. But, like, I don't know, it's just at this point, like, how fucking dense do you have to be? Or, like, I don't know, I don't want to say stupid, but how stupid do you have to be to look at this and be like, nope, they like each other as sisters? Or whatever people are gonna say. Also, this doesn't necessarily mean that the ship between them is gonna happen. Like, it doesn't mean that they will become romantic, but it does mean that they are both they are both gay.
Yes, but also, like, I think it's they're being unsubtle about how, unless there's just magically a third character that comes along that's like stereo bitch tough. No, it's gonna be those 2 in all likelihood.
But I'm saying that it doesn't guarantee that they'll ever get together. I'm not saying that they'll get together with other people, but they may not get together even if it's just them. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
But at the same time, looking at the show, I'm like, yeah.
At the same
like,
time,
this is
looking at these people's like general character arcs, like they're arcing towards the gay.
Yeah, they're arcing towards, I think, having a relationship together. Like, if they go on the run together, like something like that, or even if they don't, if Skout runs away with the Nomad and Toth just chases after her. You know what I mean? Like, they don't necessarily all have to work together for this to work. But yeah, we'll see that next episode. I don't want to get into too much, like, shipping speculation, because I'd like to do a formal shipping video after, the last episode. But for this video particularly, I just kind of wanted to talk about the gay part of things. You know what I mean?
Unlike, the heterosexual part of a gay shipping video, Cal.
You know what I mean, though.
Do
I just mean I wanted to talk about the confirmation that we have 2 gay characters more than them actually getting together. That's all that I wanted. That's all that I meant. You know what I mean? And I think that it's been done very well. It's been done very naturally. Nomad, I think, in general, is just a better show than Ruby. Sorry.
I like Ruby. I'm more invested in Ruby.
I'm for sure. I'm more invested in Ruby. We can milk a lot more out of Ruby. Like, you guys saw how many videos we made last year,
yeah,
right?
I know, it's upsetting.
Even how many videos we make during the year, and we can't necessarily do that with Nomad, but maybe part of that is the fact that Nomad has a lot more clarity. Like, it's hard to, not that we want to, but it's easier to theorize about stuff when so many things are left up in the air and so vague and confusing, but this is very clear and to an extent very also concise, and so it's much easier to not have to speculate about every little thing and that makes Nomad better in a lot of ways as well, right? It's like,
more straightforward.
Exactly, like, I can't think of an example right now, but I'm pretty sure we made, like, 3 different videos about, like, Crow and Raven's, like, powers and all that stuff. Like, how did they get them? Are they gonna, like, pass them on to other people, like, after they die? Does it go back to Ozpin? Where does the magic go? If so, like, just all this stuff.
Man hours, I know.
All the wasted mana. And so, with this, it's, like, it's pretty self-explanatory, in terms of how magic works. Like, the magic users all got eaten. He wants to eat the Nomad too. His magic's in some sort of container, that the wizard gave him, and that's how he uses it. Like, that's it. And maybe it even refills when he does good deeds, and that's how it works, because it always glows, right, when he does something good, so I wonder what's going on under his shirt. But yeah, that's it. So that's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to talk about, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you later. Bye. Hello everybody, it is Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should become $10 patrons over on Patreon, or any level of patrons, as $10 patrons get to request videos that we get to do. Our $5 patrons get early access to basically all of the content that we put out, among other rewards. And our $1 patrons get access to our Discord server, so if any of this interests you, you guys should check it out. Bye guys.